That was another good intro by Rosie.
Somebody's
Boy, she kills it, don't she?
How y'all are this evening? I'm your host, Howard Pitre. This is the Pitre Dish, along with host Mr. Chad. We call him Candy. And then
Mr. Eye Candy.
Miss Terry. She is the Swamp Witch. And of course, we have Miss Jackie Harmon. We call her the Mr. Pins because that's what she wears. And tonight's guest is Mr. Chris Harmon with WASP Paranormal. It depends on their cousins. Jackie and Chris are cousins, but I don't know if he wants to make it known of that or not. I mean, we're just gonna throw it out there.
Well,
let's
put it this way: the depends part. I don't think I needed to hear about my cousin, but everybody else can know about her, so it's perfectly fine.
It's all lies.
That's good to know. Good.
There's many bushes out there that's been watered.
I don't need them. I can go wherever.
No,
There's a reason why the MGM is she wanted to go to a place that was gold, so for golden showers.
I heard good things about that place. That's all I'm gonna say.
You just don't remember any of them.
No, vaguely. Hey, Chris was there. He knows.
Yep, I was there.
So you didn't find any moist corners, anything like that? That had to been. That was Jackie.
Maybe
you
at
know
the
what's
hotel.
really funny is that I actually walked around in a Bigfoot costume and somebody else had it there, and I was like, "Oh, let me borrow that really fast." And so I put it on, and I walked around, and I saw Chris, and I'm like messing with him, and I took a picture with him, and I sent it to him like, "Oh, by the way, that's me in that costume." And he's like, "Oh." That was funny.
I could see you doing that.
I heard you guys are going to actually have a special guest on.
I'm sorry. I was just making sure my the comments will work because I haven't seen anybody comment
I
nothing.
didn't see nobody comment.
I see them. They're in there.
Well, I see those now, but
I just posted those. So I just want to make sure they're
trying to pull this up so I can see them on my phone.
Yeah, next week we have let's see, tomorrow night on Holy Trinity. We're supposed to be there we go.
Oh, where is mine? Oh, I got to go to the page. I always forget this. Links.
Hey, Courtney.
Here's a comment. Hey, David.
I can't see the comment.
David's awesome.
I invited him to the new Prometheus page, so.
Yeah, me too.
Nobody had invited him yet, so.
So, yeah. Next week, or this week, on Holy Trinity, we're going to be talking about sex dolls and can they be actually, possessed by, adult entertainers, and so yeah, we're gonna have that for tomorrow night, and then
that one, Chris.
I'll make sure I'm there. I'll make sure I'm there.
And
Sounds
then
like
next
a fun
week,
one.
next week we're going to be doing a actual Bigfoot. We're going to have a Bigfoot on, a female Bigfoot.
And I'm so jealous because I'll be out of town. I'm going to miss that one.
What? We're going to have a female Bigfoot
yes,
on?
David.
That's on the Holy Trinity.
So I got to point out real quick. Chris Black, he's one of my co-founders for WASP. He just asked if you buffed your head, Harmon, and I'm like, no. It's the lighting. It's just how it comes out. I had in the Shino Bolo yesterday when I went bowling. So there you go.
That's awesome. That's great.
We're gonna have a classy time here, folks.
No, he doesn't, but I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
David's stuck on the Holy Trinity stuff. He's ready for the Holy Trinity. He's all about the sex dolls right now. But no, tonight we have Mr. Chris Harmon. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself so we can actually make fun of you. No,
well, that's not going to be very hard because the first thing I'm going to say, born and raised right here in Utah, working around the LDS religion. There you go. There's a great way to start.
Sorry.
Nope, it's all good. Father of 4, married for 18 years. Well, you're okay. Here's another thing you're going to laugh
Again,
at.
sorry.
My wife's name. My wife's name is also Jackie, believe it or not.
We're the same name.
Her. Whoa.
Not her. Not her.
Surprise!
Yeah, they're not in Alabama. They're not. No.
It's no sweet home.
My husband.
No, it's a sweet home Alabama. No, that's not that case.
No.
It's
It ain't that kind of party.
Oh yeah, not that kind of party.
I thought I asked that at the beginning of the show. I mean, before even we started, I said that y'all like cousins, like down south kind of cousins, and you said no. And here you are telling me you didn't marry to Jackie Harmon, and I'm confused.
Different Jackie Harmon.
There's another Jackie Harmon, but she's spelled Jackie, not the other Jackie. There's my wife.
Oh, there's
my wife.
Hey, Jackie.
I got to see who's all in here before I forget everybody.
It looks
hey,
like
David.
4 beautiful kids.
I mean, I thought this was going to be another show here. I mean, we can actually make this would be a 4-hour block or something going on here. But
some other things about me too, so you guys know. I've worked in the wrestling business for 15 years on the indies. Got to work with some of the big pro wrestling names. Big retro game fan, music. Yeah, just a nice, wholesome guy. That's all you really need to know.
I did a little research on you today, Chris, and I know that one thing we have in common is classic rock and roll.
Oh, yes.
Love classic rock.
Yes. Who's your favorite classic rock? See, I'm going to get on music first.
So it has to be Led Zeppelin.
Oh, God. Yes.
Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Kiss, Pink Floyd. I grew up with a lot of it because my parents were big to classic rock and roll, mainly my dad. My mom was more into the 80s type of area with like Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston.
Right.
Tiffany, all those great names. So those are really what I grew up around. And to be quite honest, it's the music I enjoy. Anybody who gets offended, I don't like any of the newer stuff. I prefer to stick with the retro just because it just sounds so much better. Yes, Van Halen. David Merlin, Van Halen. Absolutely.
Yes,
100%.
Van Halen. Okay, there's a lot of greats out there. I will say Led Zeppelin, my jam. It's like my theme song, Ramble On. That's me.
If you like classic rock and AC/DC, you have to you have to go and look at David Merlin's video that he has.
Well, share that with us, Chad.
Yeah, David's on here. Hi, David.
Yes, hello, Mr. Merlin.
You got David Merlin, you got David Oman. You got 2 Davids on this.
Yeah, 2 Davids.
David's in the house.
Me, I like Boston. I like Boston. Boston, Kansas. The Dead. I'm a Deadhead, so I love the Dead.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm into that.
There you go.
I'm a Queen girl. I like Queen.
I'm one of those people that. Yes. Oh God, Freddie Mercury. Now, who could say enough about Freddie Mercury?
Absolutely.
But Dead, the Grateful Dead. I just never got on that bandwagon, and that was my generation. And they're all right. They're all right, but I wouldn't go buy one of their CDs. I'll just put it that way.
That's going to be awesome. Denise and Ernie next week. On next week, Pitre Dish, we're going to have Denise and, she says she might grace us with her presence, which is awesome. But it's going to be Ernie Pack and Denise. We're going to be talking about Waverly Hills, trying to save Waverly Hills.
Absolutely.
So we're big into that right now. And matter of fact, that was even on my posters. We do. Ernie's a good friend. Denise she's awesome. She's a good friend of mine also. And there's nothing I wouldn't do for them people. Nothing I would. Even I'd send them biscuits. I mean, I'll send Ernie biscuits if I got to. If the man was out of biscuits, I'll send him biscuits.
It's a great cause. I found out about this in Vegas when Jackie and I were down there in December, and it's a great cause that I'm also helping with. WASP is trying to promote as much as possible to help out. We've even sent a little money their way to help with the legal fees. So I'm just really hoping to see them get Waverly Hills back to the rightful owners 100%.
We're boycotting it. So they can't say it, but I'll say it. We're boycotting Waverly. And if they say it, they get in trouble for it and all that stuff. But no, I don't have no ties to Waverly Hills, so I'll say it. I'm boycotting. I'm asking everybody to boycott them. Don't go there. Don't do nothing. Don't spend no money there. Pretty soon the town will see, without having people coming in there and spending money in the town, in their restaurants, in their hotels and everything. When you go and do investigations, they'll see that Waverly should be in the hands of Tina and Charlie. So, yeah, that's most definite. But,
I 100% agree. I think that's the right way to do it because it's going to get an attention. So I'm with you right there, Howard.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So let's. The attorneys gave us permission. What?
Wow.
Ooh.
Nice. That's good news.
Oh, good.
Hey!
Awesome.
Good.
Right back at you, Denise.
Yeah, no, always, Denise. Always. So let's get back and let's crucify Chris. Or Jackie.
Or Jackie.
It's going to be a family thing tonight.
Yeah.
Trust me, my wife, she's also, she's that dirty too. Trust me, it's not going to be. If I'm expecting this to be rated R, it's probably going to be XXX. So there you go.
Oh,
it's NC-17.
Bring it.
Oh,
well,
so
there you go.
have to be on our show on the Unlocked and Uncensored. That's when we get down and dirty.
There you go. Sounds good.
Not as dirty as we doing that on Holy Trinity.
Well, y'all do different things on Unholy Trinity now. It's just a different,
Last week and the week before that, we showed how to cook, cow vagina and horse vagina.
I showed somebody how to shut. I showed somebody how to shut somebody's mouth with a cow cheek. So
there you go.
So there we go. Yeah, I mean, Howard and I can both say we've had our hands slapped on the other station.
Spank that ass.
We got spanked.
Nice.
Nothing wrong with that.
I was going to say that's Jackie's Tuesday night. So
that's an off night for Jackie.
You know me too well, dog.
That's an off night. Come on, be honest. Oh Lord. So what is WASP do? WASP Paranormal. What type of investigations do y'all do? What do y'all basically focus on?
So we focus on any type of investigation. It could be a home investigation, business, landmarks, anything that just really captures our attention that people need help on. We go out there and try to get the answers that we can for them. It's always going to be a difficult challenge because you're going to have your skeptics, which I love skeptics to begin with. They really help out with the case quite a bit more, especially with Rick, one of our other co-founders. He's our tech expert. He's also our biggest skeptic. So a lot of things we will have him look at first and foremost, and he will tell us, okay, it could be this, it could be that. But there's sometimes he'll see something and be like, okay, that's not human. Something else is going on there. But yeah, anybody that needs our help, we're always welcome to help out. Our goal is to try to get out of Utah as much as possible. And of course, gas prices are not helping with that in any case.
Boy, that's not a lie.
No kidding.
But the good part is we did get some help from the state, as in getting a little bit notice, because we've been on local TV shows doing like specials in the morning. We've even done a thing on KSL out here where they did Ghost Island, which you can see on our YouTube channel, where they went out to a location that we've been investigating for the last 3 years called Fielding Gar Ranch out in the middle of the Great Salt Lake in Antelope Island. So just a few of them.
Very cool.
That is really cool.
So,
what's the scariest place you've ever been to?
So in Brigham City, there used to be the old Brigham City Indian School, Native American School. It used to also be Bushnell Hospital back in World War II. The story behind it is they built this for World War II. It did house POWs of Japan, Italy, and Germany, which was, you knew there was going to be some type of action going on there with these guys. In addition, after World War II ended, it turned into a Native American school. Yeah, Chris Black will tell you a lot about this too, if you ever get a chance to meet him. But when it became a Native American school, it was originally, I believe, Navajos. It was originally supposed to be holding, and then they ended up making it an Intermountain Native American school for all tribes. There's got to be a lot of friction and a lot of problems with that. And then in the 80s, they ended up shutting it down. The buildings became deserted. Our team got to check it out back in 2009. And just the place alone just gives you the creeps. You just feel it in your body and everything. And the one thing about this particular night in November of 2009, we picked up probably our most impressive piece of footage you're ever going to see on video of what looks to be a World War II soldier, full body apparition and everything.
Oh, wow. Anyway, didn't you bring that when you were in Vegas?
That is correct. I did bring it. I showed it off to like the Ghost Brothers. Is a great example.
Seeing it.
Well, the funny part is with the Ghost Brothers, they had the greatest answer to that. It's like, oh, that's the devil. I'm not touching that. I'm sitting there laughing my ass off when they did that. It was so great. That place will always leave memories in my head just because of how dark it was and how spooky it was. We were actually back out there this past winter in 2021. The buildings there's practically none of the buildings left except a couple. One's been turned into a furniture store. Majority of them been turned into apartment buildings. And what happened was we're out just on the land where all the buildings used to be at. And Black can even vouch for this, what happened. We're in the middle there walking towards the building that we originally were in at one point, and all of a sudden he starts laughing like, camera just died. And just his expression showed everything. I had my millimeter in my hand, and I went up to him. Before I went up to him, 0.0. Right up to him, 7.7. And he's like, we got to run. He almost lost his cookies. That's how bad it was. That area has a lot of bad energy still to this day. So place held over like 15,000 patients, all the POWs, first place that introduced insulin, and was also dealing with quadriplegics. So one of the first places. It's a quite dark area. You would be surprised in Utah, but Utah has a lot of dark history behind it, especially in Ogden off of 25th Street is a great example because it used to be the epicenter of the West at one point. And although I've heard rumors and I've never found any confirmation of it, a famous gangster once said, I will never step foot in Ogden, Utah. It's too dangerous. It was Al Capone, supposedly, that said that. So until I find it, I can't really prove that, but that's what I've heard on multiple occasions.
That's actually not the first time I've heard that. And that's really cool because I've heard that location's really, really like haunted and there's a lot going on there, a lot of weird energy. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Ogden it's got a dark aura to it. I used to work in a thrift store out there in Ogden, and one night my team and I decided to stay in the building because they've told me about a lot of the activity that was going on there. So we went down into the basement, was running an EVP session, and right above us is where the break room, the office would be at. And I remember one of my team members asking a question, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you start hearing footsteps right above our head. And it was the craziest thing. All I did was look over to them, point up, and they shook their head. Yes, that's all you had to say. And I think I still have the digital recording for that night.
That's cool.
Are you sure that wasn't Jackie?
Well, if I would have known about her about that, then sure, it probably was. I wouldn't know.
I mean, if there was a puddle there or something, then
was there anything dripping from the ceiling above you?
Yeah, a lot of ectoplasm.
A lot of ectoplasm.
Oh
Lord.
Oh, Lord.
I gotta pick
we are a classy bunch. We are a classy bunch.
Right?
Somebody would walk up there and they'd be like, she slimed me.
Hey, Richard. I actually went to a place last night called Shooters, and as soon as I walked in, I was like, I fit right in here.
Nice.
Did you pee on the wall?
So, Chris, what do you have a place on your bucket list most wanted to investigate?
Oh, there's numbers. I couldn't even give you one, to be quite honest with you.
Same. I'm the
same. Nice, Howard. Thank you very much. I could definitely tell you right now, the biggest one would have to be Skinwalker Ranch out there in Utah.
Me too.
Skinwalker Ranch is one of the top ones. I was trying to get in.
You better take me.
Well, if I get in, that's the key term.
Yeah.
If and when. But that is an ultimate goal, is to get into that place, because there's a lot. Just watching the TV show now. Granted, anybody who's watched any paranormal shows, you know that everything is 100% real. It's all scripted because they got to make money and stuff. But there are certain things that I'm like, okay, I want to test some theories on if this is going to work or not. You know, so that's definitely one of the places. There is a amusement park here in Utah called Lagoon. And that's actually where I had my very first experience of the paranormal, that to this day, I wish I had, wish I had the access to get in there, which I found out just recently that there's an opportunity for us to go in there as long as we get with the marketing department, and it can happen after the season's over. So we're working on trying to get into this location, but that place alone has got some history behind it too. And that's cool. I saw David Merlin ask about Jonestown. I'd love to go out there. That's going to be something that's going to happen within the next 5 years for sure. So,
and that's in Utah?
Jonestown? No, I think he's thinking more out. I think that's more out east.
Oh, Jonestown.
Yeah, there's a lot of places out east.
Jonestown. Wait. Jonestown. Jonestown. Is that where they drank the Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid.
Sounds right.
No, they didn't have a Jonestown. I'm not quite. What was his name?
Oh, you talking
I never
about
drank
one
the
of those
Kool-Aid, so I don't know.
Yeah, not the one in. Yeah, that Richard's got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's Jonestown. Jim Jones.
Jim Jones.
Yeah.
One on the island.
I'm sitting there saying, I didn't know that was in the United States. Shit. I thought it was in another country.
Are you talking about that island you were just talking about?
Yeah, Jamestown. James Merlin just got it right there. Yeah, they all drank
Jim
Kool-Aid.
Jones. Jim
Jones.
I never drank the Kool-Aid.
That's where that came from, though, was drinking the Kool-Aid.
And that was Jonestown, too. So I was like,
Yeah, that's Jonestown, too.
Well, technically, we have a term on my show, Jesus Juice. And
Jesus Juice?
Now that
well, I've got Jesus Jugs. Top that one.
There you go.
I can, but I won't on camera. How about that?
Well, I grew up outside
I've
Waco,
got 4.
Oh, dang.
Actually, 6.
Got udders.
Now think about it. Now you're going with the breast cancer survivor. So my real ones are in the freezer in New York.
Oh, that's where I would have put them.
So there you go. Top that.
Can't.
So I've had reconstruction twice. So
we have a winner.
Technically, I've got 6. I've got 6.
The more you know, right?
So you never know where we're going to go on this show.
You never know what you're going to learn on here.
Right. You never know what you can learn.
Reading Rainbow for sick-minded adults. I love it.
There you go.
I read earlier this week that Ireland
that sounds like a new show.
It doesn't have what?
Snakes.
Oh, really? Because I just found out they don't have snakes in Hawaii either. And I'm like, that sounds like a really nice place to live.
I told my daughter that, and she asked me if Hawaii had snakes, and I wasn't sure, but New Zealand doesn't have snakes either.
See? I think that's a delightful place to live. I might go.
because I grabbed a snake earlier this week and sent a video of it to Jenny, and Jenny was like, "I want one."
No, you don't, Jenny. They bite. They eat you. It'll get big enough to literally size itself up to you and then eat you while you're sleeping. No,
that's what I say when I put on a grass skirt.
That's the one-eyed snake, Howard.
Just make sure you're wearing underwear.
He's blonde as a bat. I mean, he's just. Yeah. I mean, he just kind of sits there. And he's like one of those little bitty, what they call them, the little bitty snakes, some little garter snakes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's not. No. It ain't nothing.
Allergies are kicking my
all
butt.
over the place, but never straight.
Yeah, right here where I live in Utah, that's pretty much all we've got is gardener snakes. Once you get up to the mountains, that's when you start seeing the rattlesnakes and.
That's what I have here. Rattle everywhere.
Yeah. Definitely Alabama too. Rattlesnakes, water moccasins. We got them all.
What you got to do is you got to pee around your house.
Oh, I have.
And they don't come around your house. They smell it. Human.
Like, well, they don't come near me because I live smack in the middle of the city. But they are everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, one-eyed Vienna sausage. That's what it. That's being hung too. I mean, for me, that's hung.
That is like bragging. Richard's bragging.
That's awesome. I don't care who you are. That's awesome right there. That's great.
But she pees in the yard anyway. I know she does.
This is a long thing about me peeing everywhere. This all started because of me looking for Bigfoot and peeing out in the middle of the woods.
But you don't do it in the MGM Grand. I mean, come on, really?
Listen.
Just because they had a bush in the corner,
She's got to go.
I was going to say, I don't think there was one corner that happened in the MGM Grand, but I wouldn't be surprised down on Fremont Street if that was the case. On every corner.
Oh, that's true.
Valid.
Been there. Done that.
Nasty, let me tell you. Very nasty.
That place is so dirty.
So you just peed, but you peed there.
Chris, anyway. How many team members do you have on WASP?
So with WASP, we have
currently back on Paranormal here.
So I can at least name 16 that we have. And it's nice to have a big enough team that not everybody's going to be available for a certain case.
Right.
But we do got the people that are ready to go. So starting off, I'm going to mention my founders first. So I mentioned Rick McBride, Chris Black. We've got Justin Vasquez, who is also a co-founder. We've got, trying to remember everybody's name now. Thanks a lot. We've got Thomas. We've got Andrew, we've got Tony, we have Crystal, we have our psychic medium Stephanie, which I believe Jackie may have met at the Para-Unity convention because she was right next to us. We've got Amatef, who is our paranormal tech from Brazil. Awesome woman. Oh, man. And I'm going to get kicked because I can't remember everybody's name.
And you're going to be getting some mad, mean texts later. You forgot me!
I know, right? That's what's going to happen. I guarantee that's what's going to happen. Oh, let's see. Sabrina as well. She is an awesome individual. Our Wiccan, a part of the group. And then I've got Bailey and Kiki. We're just going to call her Kiki because her name's too hard to pronounce in the first place. And then we have Sam Arkey. Great guy as well, too. And I think that's everybody that I can remember. So anybody who's watching, if I forgot your name, I do apologize. It's not on purpose, I promise.
I know. We put him on the spot. Sorry.
I'm getting old in my age, and I'm only 39.
Yeah, I put him on the spot.
So is Chris Black on your team?
Yeah, Chris Black is one of the co-founders. Yeah. He's our lead evidence analyst. Oh, my goodness. It is one of those nights.
That's a lot of people you have on a team.
Mm-hmm. They all do a great job.
You don't split them up like when you do a residential. You don't try to split them up because if you have too many people on a residential,
it happens when you come on the Pitre Dish.
Well, what we do is we assign the team to a case. We find out which one needs to be at this particular case. Like the one that we have coming up in this Saturday, it's going to be Rick Ricky, Chris Black, and then our videographer. There's one more. John Marchetti. He's our videographer. He's the one that handles all the videos for our YouTube channel. Those three are going to be going out onto this case. And then the one in May, we're going to probably have like 9 or 10, but we're going to split them off to different areas because the Heritage Museum, you could probably have 2 or 3 go in. There's a little cabin that's right in the front of the building. And then George, by the way, hi, George. I met you in Vegas as well. You were out there at the Para-Unity convention. And then
George is awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about him. I've seen his interviews. He's a great guy. And then where the Heritage Museum is at is right in Layton Park, where there's been a lot of rumors about activity going on. So I'm going to send a team out into the wooded area to see what they can capture.
Well, that's really cool.
Very cool.
When you guys do investigations, do you mainly stay in like Utah, or do you travel around the country, or what?
So for right now, we're in Utah, and eventually we're going to start trying to get out of the state. I know there's a place in Nebraska that we've been trying to get to for the last couple of years. Thank you, pandemic. That didn't happen out very well. There's a place in Idaho that was brought to my attention that we're going to go check out this summer, and it's originally a spook alley, like in September and October, but during the regular times, they've been having some weird activity, especially with the spirit that shows up that no one wants to be around that area. So we're going to go and look and see what we can find out there. But those are currently right now the only 2 out of state, but we're working on it. It's just one of those things that it takes time to get your name out there and everything for people to watch you. And hopefully they understand what you're putting in. What you're putting into is going to get you answers. No problem, George.
What did that mean? We're distorted.
He's probably talking to me. Maybe I might be distorted some, but that's one of my friends from. That's one of my friends from the Bill of Rights Network. So.
Oh.
Wow. But then, George lives out there towards y'all. I mean, and I know Jax, he lives out there in San Diego, and you live in Utah. I mean, y'all can pretty much cover ground in between all that.
Oh, absolutely. There's plenty of opportunities throughout the Western United States for us to go to. I know one of the focuses that we want to put into this year, there's a lot of ghost towns in Utah that have not been investigated, or if they have, they've not brought out any type of research. So,
wait a minute, whoa. You talking about Zach Baggins has not been to every place everywhere?
No kidding, right?
Or as David would say, don't Zach up the paranormal.
I will say this much. One thing about WASP is we want to work with everybody. We have no problems with any paranormal groups out there. I do have my opinions on what the Ghost Adventures crew has done here in Utah. It's kind of ruined a few things. I won't get too in detail on that because I'm trying to behave myself. But we have
you
no
don't have to
problem
behave
with
yourself here.
True story.
Well, I'm going to be honest. There's a couple of places in Utah that they filmed. One of them is so there is Benson Grist Mill that they filmed just a couple of years ago. And we were out there before they were, and everything they talked about that was happening out there, we can confirm. None of it happened.
Oh.
Didn't happen.
You didn't see it? There you go. Thank you, Jax.
It was just pretty much all for show. And we're disappointed by that because one of the things that's been happening, like one of the more familiar haunted locations in Utah is Asylum 49 in Tooele, Utah. They've been out there 3 times. And ever since they've been out there, they've raised their prices where they're like $100 for a class that the class is not even worth doing because you spend 3 out of the 5 days watching Ghost Adventures. You're not really being taught anything of the paranormal.
Right.
So that kind of bugged me and everything.
Well, I'm kind of on the same. I can't stand them. I mean, I'm not going to put that out about all.
She's like, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm starting to notice that
as
some people are making weird comments about us being like robotic.
As an investigator, when a new client calls you, they immediately start going to, well, I seen this on Ghost Hunters, or I seen, and it's like, do you all realize that what you see on Ghost Hunters in an hour is probably filmed over 3 months, if it is real at all. You know, it sets up, I think, a bad misrepresentation of what we really do. You know,
It's
I think it doesn't show us in a good light.
And to be on top of that, Terry, is the first thing I tell any of our clients is not everything is paranormal. If a door opens,
Same.
there may be explanation behind it, and people
Same.
forget that when you watch the stuff on TV, it is for entertainment purposes. They are trying to earn money to get. They have to earn ratings to get paid.
Right.
It's all about ratings. If you don't have the ratings, your show's going to be shut down.
Right. If they're showing what we really do, sitting in the dark for hours and hours and hours with nothing going on, people aren't going to watch that.
No. It's boring because it's just like fishing. I tell people, ghost hunting's like fishing. You put your equipment out, you sit there and wait until something happens. And sometimes you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything a lot of times. We'll sit in a room for like 30 minutes with absolutely nothing. Go back, listen to digital recorders, nothing. It is what it is. It's what you sign up for.
Or the minute you decide nothing's going to happen and you pack up to go home, then it starts.
Oh, I know, right?
All the time.
And I'll give a great example of what you need to watch for too. Is if you're going to a location and let's say you have a big concert hall within 30 to 50 miles from you, you probably don't want to do the investigation during that time. And we know this very well because that Fieldingar Ranch out in the middle of Antelope Island, it's within 30 to 50 miles from salt air. And anytime they hold like a rave or a concert, the bass comes in and you can feel it from this location and it ruins it. No,
I can see that.
We get nothing happening, and it's like, okay, we got to back up and go home.
Well, it's just like, where my old house where I lived a year ago, the Barber Motorsports Speedway is down there. And it was, 8 miles from my house, but Sunday mornings when there's no traffic, you could hear them cars looping the track. So I think about that too when I'm on paranormal investigation is how far that sound traveled. What are we maybe picking up from somewhere else?
Oh, yeah. In fact, on one of our YouTube tip videos that we did, we're at a location called Steed's Pond right here in Clearfield, Utah. And we couldn't investigate because they had a movie in the park which disrupted everything. In that point, you just pack up and go home. And it was a fun one to film, and it's a really good tip for everybody to really watch and everything. So my advice for anybody who studies the paranormal or is looking to study the paranormal, watch your location. Paranormal doesn't work on it. Paranormal works on its own time, not yours.
Right.
And you don't need the most expensive equipment, plain and simple.
Well, now that you said that, let's talk about, if you were telling someone just starting, what would you tell them they needed for equipment?
First and foremost, a flashlight is always going to be nice. Digital recorder is a good thing to have. And those are your basic things right there. If you've got a digital camera, that's fine. Polaroid's better because you'll pick up something.
Totally agree. Polaroid and old film cameras. I came from a background of photography. So I know what digital cameras can do. I get pictures from people all the time. Tell me what you think of this. It's light flare. It's digital camera light flare. And they want me to tell them every other thing, but I can't do that. That's not what it is. When I'm training my team, I do a big thing about photography and digital cameras, and everybody hates the price of developing film and all that. But if you catch it on film, negatives were my kind of feel. I love playing with negatives and, all that stuff. So you can't take a negative and fudge that negative,
Exactly.
So if you've got evidence, hard evidence on a negative, there's no denying that. And that's what I like my team to be very scientific. We want to rule out what's not there and give valid evidence of what is there.
Yeah, and this may not sound like a tool, but be skeptical. When you first go out there,
absolutely.
be skeptical. Don't guarantee yourself you're going to get activity. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes in the world of the paranormal when people study it is they hear all these stories. Oh, this happened in my home. So they're expecting it. No.
Right.
You
It
got to
doesn't
walk
work that way.
Nope. You got to walk in there open-minded. And if something happens, start asking questions immediately. Okay, what's causing this? Why is it happening? Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to debunk it anyways. So.
Right. The very first team I was on, they nicknamed me the Debunk Queen because I could go in and, the one house in particular, they kept talking about this sound that it was an old doorknob rattling. And of course, I wiggled the doorknob, and I wasn't buying it as we were leaving the house because we had heard the sound outside, and they were like, "Did you hear it? That was it." And I could tell that it was coming from that area, but it wasn't coming from over there where the doorknob was. As we were leaving the house, something in their ice maker was turning, and that's the sound they were hearing. And they never put it together because they weren't, it was some kind of, it wasn't the ice actually dropping, but something turning, and it was making that sound that they thought was the doorknob rattling. We spent hours out there for that sound.
Oh, yeah, that one of the easiest examples of debunking right there is finding something that is a common item that gets misrepresented,
Right.
So
that was a good find, by the way. That would have been hard for most people to figure out.
Exactly. I agree. That's a perfect example.
I would bring also a good condom unused preferred, because you never know what you might run into. I mean, you want to protect that kind of stuff.
Actually, I'm glad he brought this up because it's a funny conversation that me and a friend of mine who actually investigated a store. But he asked about if spirits have sex. One of the craziest questions I've ever heard. And he wants to be that one ghost in his lifetime that when people are having sex, he's sitting there watching. I'm like, dude, we
covered
crazy.
it. We already covered that on Unholy Trinity. It's not just that they have sex; it's what kind of venereal diseases that they share. Also, so we went deeper into that. We went actually that deep into that topic.
They're all invited in as long as they don't share that.
There you go. I love it.
They can watch all they want.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're having a concert and they're bringing all that electrical stuff in there and it's just charging up the atmosphere.
What happens afterwards is a different story.
Right? Any plans here in Northern California, headed to Texas in 2 weeks for an event? Enough of me. You ever hit California Northern, I'm in.
Sounds good to me. Definitely a work in progress.
Well, now he's got NorCal and SoCal covered because I'm down here.
Yep. Carl, how you doing, brother?
Awesome.
How you doing, Carl? Nation Radio.
Oh, trust me, we're always down to try to check out new places, even outside of Utah. We'd love to start getting outside of Utah.
I'm trying to find some new locations down closer to where I live because it seems like I'm always traveling so far. But I mean, I know there's got to be some places down here.
Oh, there has to be. California itself is just got a lot of history behind it, no matter what you hear about. So,
Jackie, just take your K2 meter out with you everywhere. See where you get hits.
I see your K2 and raise it with a millimeter. No, I got to give a shout out to Amitaf, our paranormal tech. I had a chance to work with her the very first time. I think it was back in 2020. And we found out her least favorite piece of equipment is a K2 meter. And ever since then, we've joked about it. Hey, I've got a K2 for you. You want to use it tonight?
Yeah.
That was like
I know where that K2
the K2 meter. Other than my camera and digital voice recorder, I think the K2 meter was my first piece of equipment. And it really impressed me in the beginning. But now there's a house that we've been investigating for over a year. Every other piece of equipment will hit in this house. We have motion lights. They'll go off. we hear, with your own ears, you hear things. The piano plays. I mean, it's weird shit happens. K2 meter never goes off on the house. Never. So I've had to question now, was it just kind of maybe faulty before? I don't know. So I'm kind of with her on the K2 meter. I don't really, I set it out just because, but I'd walk off and leave it.
I will say when I first started, the K2 was something nice to have, and you learned a lot from it. But as you gain more knowledge on the paranormal tech out there, it's it's a hit and miss item because the way you
Right.
have to hold it, the way you have to use it, that I've gotten to the point I don't check out the K2 very often anymore. I've upgraded to the millimeter because I like it more because it does measure the milligauss a little bit better. It's got the temperature to help out more.
Right.
And it's actually kind of helped me in the past because there was actually one time where I had a near possession that came out in a case we were working on. And the millimeter was actually able to tell there was something attached to me. And ever since then, I'm like, device actually does a lot more.
Right.
So, but hey, my opinion. That's the good thing about the paranormal is we all have our right to our opinion. You're not going to agree with me nine times out of 10, and that's okay. Everybody's got different experiences and different ideas on how it works. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
If it was the same, it'd be boring.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're all out there for the same thing. Well, maybe
Exactly.
not all of us. I think some people might just be thrill seekers or whatever. But for most of us that are serious into it, we're doing it because we want to be part of this scientific thing to show one day that it is real. That we could just bounce a skeptic and show, nope, here's the evidence.
Absolutely.
Our team is very much. I've got a couple of really good tech people on my team too, and we're very much into the scientific part of it.
Mm-hmm. There's many different ways to look at the paranormal, and I think if we're all working together instead of against each other, you're going to get a better answer of it in my book.
Exactly.
And that's why I have no problem working with other paranormal teams. If you've got the respect to work with us, we've got the respect to work with you. And I'd like to hear other groups' ideas and opinions because there might be something you may have missed on the last case that you did that you want to try in the future. It may work.
Or that might not have been there last time you
share
were there.
Knowledge. Yeah, share the knowledge. Help out each other.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately, the paranormal is not like that. It's cliquish.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
True. Sad.
Howard will tell you. He'll say, "Oh, we're going to talk to so and so." No, Howard, I really don't know who that is. I'm sorry to all you paranormal people out there. I do my thing in my little paranormal world down here, and I really don't pay attention to what other team. Now that I'm doing these shows, I'm a little bit more involved.
Yeah.
But I do find, the less I know about the other team, I don't want to be that cliquey bullshit stuff. If you want to work with me, I'll work with you. Great, let's go on investigation. But I think at the end of the day, we all should have the same goal in mind, and that is to bring true and factual evidence, and document it and share it so that one day paranormal is not looked at as paranormal, that it will be normal.
Agree.
And Richard Still said that about teams not sharing data. Well, that'd also be kind of like fishing too, because you don't tell other people where your fishing spots are. So
yeah,
it's like what I said. Literally, it's like the most cliquish community of all time. Like, people are not supportive. They're not big on sharing. So it's hard. It really is. It's like one of the worst communities. Actually, it's really hard because they don't want to share their information. They don't it's always like someone on your team doesn't like somebody else. It's so ridiculous. Drama. I swear to God.
Also, they don't like to be ridiculed. That's another thing. Because I've posted stuff out there, and I've always gotten ridiculed. Oh, you did this, or you did that, or this wasn't the right way of doing it, and all. So that's another reason why.
Right there, what Chris Black said. I'm all for sharing what I find. That's what WASP is all about. We have no problem sharing what we've got. It's the fact is I think honestly it's better to work together than against each other, because for me the biggest thing is I've told my team on this multiple occasions, we're out there to help people out. If it happens that someday out of nowhere we get on TV, it's a perk, but it's not the reason why we did this.
Right.
Plain and simple. It's the fact we're out here trying to help people get answers to why the paranormal exists and see what evidence we can gather that might help make this even more important than what people realize. So,
yeah,
right.
I was just
now. I kind of believe that everywhere is haunted. I mean, I think there's ghosts that are. It just depends on if they want to be active. They want to make themselves known. How do you feel about that, Chris? You think that there's ghosts? I've told my clients before, it's not a ghost, it's just a floater, and that's just a Terry term, of just one that's just cruising through. A floater, they're just stopping by for breakfast, or
I've seen many of them in toilets before.
I was just gonna say, Howard.
I was gonna say that's Howard's department there.
That's my son. He's all, I love the floater for you.
Oh,
thanks,
Terry. To answer your question, I agree. We've had so much history on this planet that there has to be some activity everywhere you go.
Right.
I agree 100% that there's floaters out there that are making their presence known. And I'll tell you right now, where I'm sitting, I know I have a ghost bunny that's in this house as we speak, that passed away in this house. And I know this because my cat wants to come in here and play with it every single day. I know it exists. Okay, so it works. But no, I agree. I think the paranormal's out everywhere you go. It just shows up when it wants to. It does what it wants when it wants. Plain and simple.
Right, exactly, and that's how I feel about it too. It's people don't freak out just because you got a floater stop by every now and then. They're just stopping in to say hey, or smell what you're cooking, or what you're doing. Maybe they're there to watch you have sex. Who knows?
There you go.
Oh no!
All those
Shut your doors, lock them tight. Oh wait, nope, you can't. They go through that too.
all those I've seen. All those I've seen. Just let you know now.
Yeah, see, even my wife will agree with you there, Terry. She used to live in a house that's on 13th Street in Ogden that has activity. That you look at it, it's creepy as hell, and it's still standing. But yeah, anywhere you go, there's some type of activity.
You guys should see if you guys can actually get in there and investigate that specific place. That'd be cool.
We're actually working on that right now. Justin is looking into it and seeing who we can talk to. It's abandoned at this moment. Oh, that's awesome. So we might have an opportunity to get in there and find what we can.
That'd be really cool. Because she has history and who knows what else is there. So that'd be really cool.
Well, the reason why I'm having Justin look into it is he lived there too, and he had experience in that place. I think he was sitting down playing video games. He was by himself, and he saw some black mass go right through there, and it freaked him out so bad he ran out of the house. So he's had his experiences there too.
Right, and I have to agree with what your wife just said. We have loved ones and our ancestors that check in on us. So, you get that, one certain person that's hung up on Christian beliefs that it's the devil, it can't be. But it's like, but you sit and pray, for them to give you a sign that they made it where they're at, and then when they do, then you freak out, it's the devil.
Like the Ghostbusters earlier with my video. Yep, exactly.
Right.
I think
and how do you feel about that, Chris? I'm sure you've run across those clients being in Utah. I know y'all have got some uptight religious beliefs out there as well, like here in Alabama. Do you find that you run into that a lot, that clients call you and the devil is in their house, or demons? I get that. 90% of the time, if my client lives in Alabama, they are convinced.
Is that because they're religious, Terry?
Yes. It's
always the devil. It's always the devil.
It's always the devil. it's pounded into their head. If
And
it's
you want to get rid of that devil? You want to get rid of that devil? You tell them to give your wife your credit card, and the devil will leave.
it's either the devil or it's demons. I actually had a guy, one of my first cases, as my own team, called me and was describing to me that the devil himself was trying to possess him, and 7 legions of demons. So my team, we took this, as an emergency. I mean, it was right before Christmas, the weekend of my anniversary. I told my husband, "Sorry, baby, love you, gotta go." This guy.
I got a demon to deal with.
Well, I didn't think it was a demon because I've got my own beliefs about that, but I did feel something was happening to make him feel this way. Well, we get down there and ends up the guy is the construction worker. His guys in the back of the site where they're staying are cooking meth. He's hallucinating
I was going to
because
say
he's breathing meth fumes.
As closest I ever felt to feeling like I was possessed by the devil would have been whenever I was smoking meth years ago. So,
I mean, and we told him that, and he was like, no, and I was like, I really think you should, ended it with, go get a physical exam from your doctor. That's the best I can tell you. I can't help you. And he sent me several other pictures, and all it is just crazy out of focus pictures. It's not, and he's like, you don't see him, and he'll be circling all these spots in the pictures that these are these 7 legions of demons, and I really do believe
dust?
that comes from, it's not even that, Jackie. I mean, I'll have to go back and find some of these pictures and I'll send them to you.
I actually have the answer. I've actually figured out. You guys want to know what the answer is? If someone sends you pictures literally of dust, like orb dust, and it's dust, you literally send them a bottle of Pledge and go, here you go.
That was a nude picture I sent to you, though.
Take care of your business, and you won't have that problem anymore.
Jackie, that was a nude picture I sent to you, though.
What?
You're saying it's
What did he say?
He
I
said
that was a nude picture I sent to you. And you're saying it was dust?
Is that what that is? Let me look again.
Get the magnifying glass, Jackie.
But my Google's back on.
Yeah, get the glasses out. Let's see.
That's what I'm about ready to do with mine. I'm gonna start sending out pictures, and I'm gonna show. Look, this demonic entity was forming, and doing this, and what I'm going to actually do is
take in front of my eyes
and take pictures of the skid marks in my underwear, and I'm just going to go ahead and post that out there.
Oh, Chris is like,
somebody probably bought those from you.
What have I walked into?
Oh, like I said, I've worked in the wrestling business, and trust me, there's some of the most perverted people out there. This is normal to me. I'm just sitting here laughing.
You feel like you're at home.
I know, he's like, I fit right in. Well, if you're a true Harmon, you're like me, yeah.
So, do you find that to be the case in Utah as well, Chris? Is it always a demon or devils
or skid marks in underwear?
Yeah.
What Howard said.
Is what Howard said.
There you go. That's the answer.
It's a mixture, honestly. You do got some of the religious nuts out there that think it's a demon, and then you realize, oh boy, it's just family. And then they were like, okay, we'll calm down and everything and relax. Oh my God. Yeah, there you go. There's a great example of what we deal with, Chris with penis, because we'll joke around about our videographer, John Marchetti. Well, he'll pass away, and if we hear the word penis, we know it's him, and we're like, okay, we have to ignore it. It's just John. So there you go. I think the biggest thing we've dealt with a lot more, I think, is dealing with more people that use more drugs that are seeing things than anything. There is a case here in Layton we did back in 2020, early 2020. This kid said he saw something in his room that he was living in. He saw a knife levitating off the ground. So we went ahead and did this investigation for him. And we're starting to believe that I think he was just more using marijuana than anything, and getting his mind all over the place.
Well,
so
I've
I
never
think we ran into that
marijuana
one
that did anything like that to me to make things.
Yeah, I would say not. He's probably not smoking pot. He's probably doing something a little more harder than that.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
That
in all fairness, I wouldn't be surprised.
K2 or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, no, that's synthetic crap. I've heard, that
y'all are rookies there. If that's all you've seen, hell, here in Florida, we have people going and taking them bath salts and chewing somebody's face off because they think they're the devil.
That Flocka stuff, yeah,
Yeah,
like I've seen videos, and every one you see, it's in Florida.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Oh yeah, there's minor
if y'all
things
have
that
not
we've seen
seen a Flocka video, go YouTube Flocka dance, and every one of them will be in Florida.
Yeah, it was a thing. No, for real, it was a thing here in South. It started like as a South Florida thing.
Doesn't sound like it was a good thing.
Oh no,
it really is not. I mean, do you really go Google that shit, Jackie? It's
my God.
We had a friend of ours show up at our house one time, and we thought he was on something. Obviously, called the paramedics because of the way he was flailing around and stuff, and the cops said Flocka, and I'm like, what the fuck is Flocka? Yeah, and so he told me to go look it up on the internet, and he said it's been coming up from Florida. So we went and watched the Flocka dance video, and my God, why would you do something to do that to yourself?
Don't ask me.
I mean, that's just crazy as hell. They
Flocka, that
flail
sounds
their
like some kind of
body
strange sex position.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you've ever watched what is the movie, The Possession of Emily Rose or The Exorcism of Emily Rose, you know how she twists her body and contorts? Nothing compared to these people on Flocka. I mean, that shit will creep you out. So yeah, maybe that needs to be like a thing that we add to our paranormal questionnaire.
Wow.
Has anyone around you done
Flocka?
I've got to try some of that shit while sitting on the toilet. I want to see what happens when. That ought to be interesting. I'll have shit all over the walls. Yeah, I'll have it everywhere. Out the window.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up myself. This sounds very.
Everybody's Googling Flocka right now.
What I heard it.
It's Flakka.
Okay.
Flakka.
Sounds insane.
2 Ks. It is insane. I mean, and there's the one. Any one you find, there's a girl on the street, and she's just all bending over, and it's like. And then, like, doing a back bend. It's crazy, y'all. Google that
Weird.
shit.
And rains. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm singing this song.
Yep, I'm pulling it up right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. What are we watching?
Yeah, now we can watch.
What in the world did I get myself?
I mean, it's crazy.
You want to pull up something, Chris? Look up Vietnamese street food.
Oh, no. Don't go there again.
Oh, no. Gross.
No. Don't do it, Chris.
Don't worry.
Ever be able
probably
to get
about as bad as New Orleans street food.
Oh, we at least we cook our stuff.
No, I'm talking about down in the
I
corner.
say something might get. Let's put it this way. I may say something might get me banned from the show, but if it's anything I've heard about, like Two Girls in a Cup, which I've never seen, but I know it's bad.
Oh God,
I'm not going to check it out. I'm just going to take your word for it.
I'm
just going to take your word for it, plain and simple.
How's you gonna get banned from this show? I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, we go all over the place.
Yeah, you can't get kicked off this show.
I actually left that show nauseated. That was gross.
Really noted.
Hard to watch.
Two Girls in a Cup thing. Is that what you thought? Did you watch?
I gotta look this up. Chad,
no.
Chad,
I have never seen it, but I know it's bad enough. That's like
Chad's already on it.
Don't need to.
Chad, you are not doing that, are you? Oh my God!
We don't need to see it.
No, Pat!
Don't do it!
No.
Don't do it!
No!
Oh Lord!
Don't do it!
I'm not even gonna look it up.
Sorry. You'll be sorry.
Yeah, it's
when
one of
the
those things.
internet first came out, y'all, I'm 55 years old. So my husband comes home one day. Oh, the guys tell me I've got to look this
What he
up.
says.
So he punches this shit in. I got maybe 3 seconds, and I was like, "Oh my god, no!" So now, yeah, when people tell me to look up something, nope, not doing it.
Are you talking
No
about
way.
looking up the Vietnamese street food? Or
No,
That's
I'm
as bad
talking
as
about
being like,
2
ooh,
girls
this
in a
smells
cup.
disgusting. Smell it. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. No.
What I'll say is I'll take a pass.
Yeah, that's a hard no for me.
Hard pass.
That's a hard no for the 2 girls
Yeah,
in a
that's gonna
cup
be a
for
hard
me.
no for me.
I've got that shit bookmarked.
It's in his favorites.
It probably will be, because if you think about Howard's
daily
sense
history.
of humor, that's pretty much what 2 girls in a cup. But it's very visual, and you don't want to see that.
No.
I don't even
Like
know.
I said,
That's why
2
I'm taking up.
seconds.
That's why I'm taking note and not looking up the Vietnamese food either. So there you go.
Oh,
I'm telling
you
you,
don't
the
wanna
video
see it.
started, and I was puking, and that was it. My tech guy, he's actually going to school to be a professor to teach computer programming and stuff. And so he's in the dark web fishing around crap all the time. In fact, last week I had to leave the show because he sent me a message. Have you sent nudes to anyone? No. And he's like, are you sure? No. Well, I mean, yes, I'm sure, but why? And he was on the dark web, and he came across a woman that looked similar to me. It was the hair, the gray hair and shit. But, he's always finding stuff like that, the 2 girls in a cup. And he said the 2 girls in a cup is about as bad as it gets. Other than, our minds can take us places we know that are worse than that. But he said, as far as, getting into bestiality or kids, or as far as adult people, consensual, whatever, 2 girls in a cup are as bad as it is, even on the dark web.
What about one guy in a stick?
I don't even want to know about that.
Nope. We digress.
Gonna be another hard pass on that. So yeah, check out my California raisins.
There you go.
We all look like that in the summer.
Especially me when I burn like a raisin. There you go.
Oh my god.
Same. I'm as red as that Alabama flag in the summer.
That's what I'll be looking like at the end of the summer when you guys come on in like September, and I'll be sitting here like a little raisin.
Can we talk about scorpions on a dick or on a stick? I'm sorry.
What? What?
I've actually had that problem before.
Oh no.
Well, what can I say? I appreciate your honesty.
I mean, you want to see the doctor?
Crab on the toe is
that's what I'm saying. That's not a scorpion. It was a crab.
They make a cream and an antibiotic for that, Chad.
This was when I was younger, before I used it for the same things. But I put on swim trunks.
Lord. Oh no.
That's sad when my own production company's already asking questions to try to steer me off topic. Look.
We're like, done.
Chris, is there anything you want to, tell us about? You want to get up, give yourself some kudos out there.
Well, biggest thing is right now we are working on trying to make sure our website is up to date and everything. YouTube channel with more stuff going on. That's kind of right now the focus. So we got a couple of cases coming up we can add more evidence to. A couple of cases we're still trying to close out that we've worked on at the moment. That's kind of right now what our focus has been. I know there's one thing I'm currently working on that I'm doing a lot of research on. And because you mentioned, Terry, about floater spirits. And it actually falls in line with something I've been kind of working on, studying the whole entire thing about children and the boogeyman and monster underneath the bed. I find this is something that I find rather interesting, because you will hear children all the time talk about saying, oh, I've seen a monster underneath my bed, or some type of boogeyman come out of my closet. And I always started thinking about that. It has to fall into the paranormal because children are more down to earth than us adults, that they see a lot more. They're going to be more vocal about it. But what do parents do? They're like, oh,
It was a
you're just
dream.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was just a dream. It was just a
Well,
nightmare.
that's really honestly more because most people out there don't believe in the paranormal. It's actually more rare to find people who do believe in the paranormal than don't.
Right.
Oh, I guarantee if you come to Utah, you're going to find a lot of people that believe in the paranormal. Like I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
And a lot of it thanks to Ghost Adventures, Taps, and all of them. But no hard feelings. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But what I've started doing is anytime I've ran into a child that has been seeing something like that, I ask them to draw a picture, because when they draw a picture, it kind of gives us an idea of what they're seeing. Right. And I reached out to people, like, if you've got children that are seeing these boogeymen or monster underneath the bed, have them draw them a picture and send it off to me so I can look at this. I was just going to say,
I'm going to steal this theory from you, and I'm going to start paying attention now. And yeah, we'll get on that research ship with you and see, real, because I remember as a kid, I used to be terrified to sleep alone. Terrified. And my mom would do, oh, it's just a bad dream, turn on the bathroom light and just pass it off. But there's obviously a reason that I was terrified to sleep alone.
Exactly. I was always terrified to sleep alone too.
I'll send y'all pictures of my flocker.
Oh, hell. I'm afraid to even see this.
He's all right.
Oh, my good Lord. Oh, man.
It's how I dance. I'll be dancing like Flocker at your wedding.
While it's working. While it's working.
There you go. No, I think it's something that we kind of need to look into a little bit more into the paranormal, because it could be a number of things that kids are seeing and parents are just running away. Oh, it's really nothing. But in reality, it can be something.
And you don't
even know if your child's even gifted. Your child could be gifted in seeing these types of things, and you don't know what's what. So
I started seeing things when I was 4. Actually, I went through this exact same thing you're talking about, Chris, with my family. But fortunately for me, I was lucky enough to have a father who had the exact same gift and would see spirit when he was young, and he had it his whole life. So it was easier for me because I had a parent that believed me and explained it to me. Most kids don't have that.
Yeah, no, I can remember. Well, we've talked about this on my show, because we didn't really say it. We're witches on my show, and everybody has that ability to be a witch. Everybody has that power. It's just, do you use it? It's just like any other muscle in your body. And kids with gifts are shut down at an early age. Oh, that's not real, because that happened to me. I can remember being 6 years old, being sent to the principal's office for arguing with the teacher that I was a witch. And another classmate of mine, we used to astral project and play in the park at night, and we would come back and talk about it, and we both got sent to the principal's office and we got spanked. I was never able to astral project after that. Never. So how many kids, had similar things happen, but their gifts were spanked out of them or told that it wasn't true, that's make-believe, you're imagining things, whatever. I believe there's something real to that.
So anybody who's watching this, I'm going to reach out to you guys and say, if you do experience something like that with your child, where they're experiencing something and you're not sure what to do about it, reach out to one of us so that way we can help with it, because this is honestly a real thing. There's nothing fake about it. There is something going on. It's funny I use this because as a kid, one of my favorite shows to watch was the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. And I remember that episode where Egon going up against the boogeyman. And to me, to this day, it's still one of those things. It's like, it's something that's true. It's something that's real. But a lot of times, you get to the point as a as an adult, it goes away and you're like, it's nothing. No,
Right.
listen to your child. Listen to
Right.
them deeply because it's really true out there. In fact, there's a case in Ogden that we've been working on now for a year, looking at the evidence and everything, and it involves a little girl that's like 2 or 3 years old who's afraid to go into her room and be by herself. And Stephanie, my psychic medium, who I have to shout out with, if you guys are on Facebook, Stephanie's tarot readings, pull her up. She is 100% legit. I wouldn't have brought her on the group if she wasn't. But she comes in, and this little girl can sense like a lot of family members coming up to her. And it's freaking her out because she's 2 years old. She doesn't know how to handle this. She doesn't know what to do.
To deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And we're explaining this to her mother, Faith, and her dad, the dad as well. And you're seeing tears in the mom's eyes because she cannot believe that this is going on, but it's the truth. It's a fact.
Right.
Little kids can sense more than adults on a daily basis.
That's true.
Yeah, they're more open. They're more open.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been told yet. That's not real. That's just, you know, they haven't been poisoned by the adults around.
Well, I was poisoned at a young age. I mean, my parents showed me The Exorcist. That was my first real horror movie. And I mean, we went to the theater and they brought us in and we watched it. And then she bad, that's what happens to you. The devil gonna get you. So my mom had to come in there with holy water and bless the room and everything every night because we couldn't sleep in the room, scared that the bed was going to vibrate, jump up and down, and all kind of weird stuff. Yeah. And as being sent for the principal's office when you're and especially if you're in a parochial school, and a lot of Southern being down in the South, they do. They got away from it, but when I was in high school, they believed in corporal punishment, and you got the paddle. I mean, this thing was probably a 2x6, a 2x6, and they just kind of like swing back into it like a cricket paddle. You know, they drill holes in them so they wouldn't lessen wind resistance and everything.
That wind through.
Parents up here in California would be at that office beating their ass. I'm telling
you. Jackie, you got to remember now,
that was acceptable though.
That was like
not out here. It's not.
That was like, hey. School, you got in trouble at school. You getting instead of your parents having to whoop your ass for you, the school just did it for you.
Well, you got your ass whipped at school, and then you got your ass whipped
when you got home.
Yeah,
whole different world here.
But I got sent. I mean, I got sent to the principal's office. I don't know about beating it. You know, about you saying that they spanked it out of a child. Because look, I got sent to the principal's office for being an asshole, and look. To this very day,
I'm the only reason why they sent you.
So, I mean, I don't know about being beaten to beat it out of you.
Well, no, I'm not saying that but it put that block up. I got in trouble for it, so I filed it. I put it somewhere else. Didn't let that that part of me come out anymore.
Oh, we got a long one here.
I was just going to say, what the heck?
I saw that.
Someone's writing a novel.
Howard, that movie Waterboy was based on Howard.
So-called haunted house.
Read it aloud, Jax.
Is she saying SoCal or so-call?
So-called.
Okay.
Yeah, so-called.
Lived in a so-called haunted house. It was the first police station until they made it into a house. A young guy killed himself in the basement where we were told we used to get noisy and strange showdown dreary daytime. What does it say?
Yes.
I think during the daytime is what she's referring to.
What's this word now? Days.
We didn't have anything to use to find out it was or normal in the house. Just pretty dreary, but it didn't hurt us. Just let us know that it was there in the house. Hours heard, they tore it down. Or years later, I guess they tore the house down. And I guess it was in Manitoba, Canada, base where this was at.
Oh, wow.
So,
now, you want to talk about psychic mediums? And there she is. That's the supreme almighty. Honey.
Just don't piss her off driving.
Hello.
Yeah. She'll show up on your doorstep.
I think she's in Wisconsin right now.
Yeah.
Or better yet, I'll show up at a hotel room. You know, which I've tried to break in.
She gets back, we got to make plans.
I'm gonna break in. Trust me.
Is she on there now? Hey, woman.
Y'all let me know what room y'all staying in, and I'll be in there banging on the door.
Right? Howard said
snow in there right
stay
now.
in our room on room 228, Howard. That's the room.
I'll be there. That's what happened to us last time when we was at Temple, the temple in Kansas. That people don't know the story. They gave me the room key, and it was the same room that Ane was staying in, and I don't know, she was there just for the night or something, and they made me a room key, and I'm in there, and I'm trying to put the room key in the thing, and I'm pushing on the door, and I'm beating on it, trying to get the door open, and she opens up the door in her pajamas and says, "Oh, hey, Howard, come on in and have a cup of coffee." And I'm like, "Duh, what? What? What?"
in my room, Ane.
That was crazy.
What kind of fishy stuff are you up to?
No kidding. At least
Hey.
it wasn't Jackie's room. She'd be over there peeing in the corner.
Well, we all know what happened. If it was in Vegas, you know, the old saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. If it was somewhere else, I know nothing about it.
Well, we say that in New Orleans, too. If it happens in New Orleans, it stays in New
Lock
Orleans.
it. Throw it.
Well, this day and age, whatever happens in Vegas or New Orleans stays on YouTube, from my understanding. So
Oh,
That's
Lord.
true.
You got to be careful.
If it
Especially
happens in Florida,
if you're hanging out at the lobby bar.
What happens in New Orleans? I'm posting that shit all over the place because I'll make sure you. I'll give you.
I know
full
all the
credit.
good drinking places down there, too.
Oh, there it is.
Nice.
That's his story. That is the story.
My God, my allergies
That is.
in my butt.
Wait a minute. She's up here. Lobby bar. Everybody's saying lobby bar.
Lobby bar. Woo!
Lobby bar.
To my lobby bar group. Didn't you hang out with us in the lobby bar, Chris?
I wasn't there for that. And in fact, I was actually at Zach Bacon's Haunted Museum the night you guys went to there.
Oh, we were there 3 nights in a row.
Didn't go to any of them.
That place was lit.
Oh,
Maybe that's a good thing, huh, Chris?
We had a good time. Everybody on here who's at the lobby bar, you know I love you. Love you.
You've been there for 3 days in a row. You probably have wet pants for 3 days for a row because she probably done pissed on your leg or something. You know, you never know. If you're standing there too long.
It may have happened. I ain't gonna tell. That's Vegas. I don't have to tell.
Yeah, there it is.
I know nothing. I know.
Right?
Lived in the lobby bar.
You take those secrets to the grave, woman. I know where you live,
Obviously, I guess it's the lobby bar based on what I saw. So maybe you do know.
But they have one that's going to be, I don't know, what Mineral Wells, they have a Paracon. They're going to be having Paralinks as part of it. And it's, I believe, Miss Phoenix Hansen's going to be, she's hosting it or whatever. It's her venue. And I believe it's at a old military installment.
Yeah, I think so.
So if you get a chance, go to, I think it's April 23rd, 22nd, somewhere in there, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it's coming up real soon.
So if y'all get a chance, George Shoplin and Kara, George and Kara Shoplin will be there. Stephen and Crystal Woodard be there, and they're guest speakers. And I was actually asked to be a guest speaker, but I'm paying for a wedding, so maybe funds will come up, maybe not. I don't know, but we'll see. Things are just too much going on right now for me, anyway. We're having a wedding. We're having wedding con. That's what we're having. Wedding con.
Yeah.
Wedding Paracon.
Yeah.
You want to see two old people get married.
Howard's getting married, and it's going to be like a big Paracon.
There you go.
NOLA, here we come.
Yeah, come to New Orleans to Chris's wedding. Look, I'm just inviting people to your wedding, Howard.
I know she's all.
Come
Shout
New
out
Orleans
to
Chris's
everybody
wedding.
in the paranormal.
Yes,
Hey, that's
everybody in the paranormal world.
Looks like I need to book my room night now.
You better start charging at the door, Howard.
You have to wear nipple tassels, though.
Yes, you have to wear these.
Okay, well, there we go. We'll go around in circles.
Those I'm actually wearing. I will be wearing those underneath my shirt. At the wedding, I will be wearing those underneath my shirt. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
How do they stay on? I'm curious.
Huh?
They're pasties.
You gotta taste them on?
Yeah, look, I'll show you. Look, hold on, let me pull this.
Freaking Ari is like nonstop.
You know he's already tried them on.
Damn,
I haven't tried.
What's funny about that, Jackie? My eye is watering as well too. So
it's like nonstop. Like, and literally since I sat down, it has not at all day, and then all of a sudden it's like intense watering.
Well,
my brother Kevin got it.
Ragweed and what's it called? Wait, let me look at those.
Yeah, you spin them around. Look, you put it right there.
Well, how do they stay on?
Well, they got this part back here. It peels off.
Oh, the sticky part. Oh, it is
sticks right on there.
like a sticky.
So it like waxes your nipple when you pull it off too.
Woo!
You can fling around like
That's
that.
a good way to do it.
Well, you've been in the wrestling. You know about the wrestling. That's just part of the props, you know.
Yep, it is. That's a fact.
That's all it is.
So, give us some of the names you worked with in that field, Chris. What are some of the big names?
So I've got to work with former WWE rocker Marty Jannetty, Chavo Guerrero, the nephew to the late Eddie Guerrero. I got to work with Doc Gallows, who used to be with the WWE, right now with Impact Wrestling, and Carl Anderson, AEW trainer QT Marshall. He was a good guy, told me some truth that I didn't want to hear, but you know what? You have to hear that truth in order to do it.
Right, right.
So those are some of the biggest names. There's a couple of big names out here in Utah that are really well known. The biggest one is Martin Casaus. He was actually on WWE Tough Enough 2011. They were nicknaming him, which one was it? Oh, Donny Osmond, just because he was out of Utah and he looked like Donny Osmond.
Right,
oh,
right.
That's funny.
He went eventually onto the Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network, became the Lucha Underground champion.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just been all over the place. He's well known. And then another one that's getting his name out there is Manny Lemons. And he currently works out there with Impact Wrestling as well. Did some stuff with AEW. His wife, Rekka Tahaka, just recently signed a contract with WOW, Women's Wrestling.
Oh, that's cool.
So things are looking good for those guys.
My new co-host for my new show, Studio 13, he's like obsessed with all WWE and all like the female wrestlers and all. But I gotta know this. Those are all great names and all. But what about, do you know, Nacho Libre?
Nacho Libre. Nacho!
Right?
Have you ever done?
Great
have you ever
movie.
worked with any midget wrestling?
I haven't, unfortunately. I have not. But they've been out here in Utah on plenty of occasions.
No, I mean, they used to, before it became WWE or WWF back in the day, and then they changed it to WWE. They used to have like different areas. They used to have wrestling, and it was big down in the South.
Oh yeah,
and,
the old territory days. Yep, I know what you're familiar with. Yes.
And I was down here had Mid-South Wrestling, and the biggest stars I've seen. Actually, I was in the bathroom standing next to, what was his name, Skandar Akbar, and he picked me up and pulled me up because I couldn't reach the urinal, so he held me up so I could go to the bathroom. And then I walked out and I seen the Junkyard Dog.
Nice.
And then Hacksaw Jim Duggan when he made his debut.
Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm even older than that. The Bicentennial Baby, Big John. We stayed at a hotel with him and his wife. They were across the hall from us. My stepdad was in a band at the time, and they traveled all over the country. And so the Bicentennial Baby, Big John, he was like 7'2".
Yes, he did.
Biggest guy I've ever seen. But the nicest guy, and his wife was just they were just super nice people. Not at all what you've seen on WWF. But my grandmother used to take me to the Boutwell Auditorium every Friday night when I was like 7, 8 years old. I can't even remember. This was way before Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, and way before all those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back in the way early days.
Way early days.
Oh yeah.
Those are fun times.
That's like back in the 80s, right?
70s.
I was going to say this is 70s. We're talking.
Wow.
Big names.
Yeah.
So no, I got to work with a lot of them. Got a lot of great insight because I used to referee, like 10 years in the business. Got to meet a lot of the young talent. A lot of them got to experience the business and realize it wasn't for them. For me, I was actually trying to get into the WWE this past year. It was a goal to become a referee for the WWE. Found out, I was told they have too many white male referees, and that's not what they're looking for. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to stick with the paranormal then, since that's going to be a better fit for me anyway.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So, but it's nice that they're giving the opportunity to everybody, women, Latinos, etc. All those opportunities out there, and I'm fine with that. I have no problem with it at all. I wish I was told a little bit better than I'm a white male referee. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it when they had The Rock, and my favorite was always Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. Now I've just seen recently that they're bringing him back to do some stuff. So now I'm like, well, I got to go back and start watching Monday Night Raw. Start watching this stuff.
It was a one-time thing for WrestleMania because the WrestleMania was this past weekend, and they decided to do something with him, with one of their stars, Kevin Owens. It was a great spot. They did a great job. I was quite surprised Stone Cold even actually did the bumps that he did, because the guy's in his 50s going on 60, and he's still taking bumps on the concrete. I'm like, dude, stop it. You're going to get hurt.
Right. Yeah. At some point, you got to. My husband and I are at that age now, and we're accepting it with this renovation of the house. You know, we used to be able to drywall a room in one day. It's taken weeks to do this now. Weeks.
It just happens.
Yeah.
I actually had
to get older.
But yeah, when back in 2011, I suffered like one of the worst bumps I've ever taken as a referee. It was a New Year's Eve show that we were doing, and what happened was it was a tag match that got double disqualification because a guy came in and started attacking everybody. I'm on the ring apron yelling at him, okay, you've done your damage. Get to the back now. Get to the back. And he's like, okay, fine. It comes up, elbows me, and I fly off into steel chairs on the floor. It hurt. I'm like, ow. Never taking that one again.
Yeah, as a referee, you get your ass kicked in there too.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah.
When people say wrestling's fake, I look at them and I'm like, no, it hurts. It's not fake. It's staged,
even if it's staged, they're still doing some pretty amazing stunts. They're hitting the ground pretty damn hard.
Yeah, you're still getting tousled.
Mm-hmm. It's not for the faint of heart, plain and simple.
Right, getting hit upside the head with a folding chair, no matter how gently you do it, it's going to leave a red mark, you know?
I mean, I wonder, it's just in the paranormal, has any, and a lot of people out there likes the wrestling, you know, in the paranormal field. Mm-hmm. Has anyone ever went to go investigate some of these pro wrestlers' houses after they passed away? You had Benoit, you had, you know, which he, you know,
controversial reasons and everything.
Yeah, it was tragic. Right. A lot of these tragic.
This is actually a good question. I like this one. I don't think anybody really has. I don't think anybody really thinks about it, because wrestling, you consider the minor leagues of celebrityism if you really think about it, because when you're a professional wrestler, you're considered a glorified stuntman in some cases. Chris Benoit's place would be an interesting one to check out to see if you can gather any evidence to the truth of what really happened. Because to me, I think there's a real more conspiracy theory about what happened with him, but I'm not going to get into that.
Right.
But there's a place in Kansas City that I want to check out, and it was where they had Over the Edge back in May of '99, the night that Owen Hart passed away from an accident. And this was a pay-per-view. They were having it. He came off the top of the ceiling, but one of the mechanisms that was holding him malfunctioned, and he came down so fast, he smacked his head on the turnbuckle, and it killed him. It knocked him out tremendously. That he was gone at that point. He passed away during the show. It was a really tragic event. I've always been curious if that building's had any type of activity of him
Right.
in there. And so there's a couple of places that I would like to check out if those things do happen. But at the same time, it depends. I think also when it comes down to it, it depends on where you spend most of your life at, or if there's something connected to you where you end
Well,
up
usually,
going.
well, you know that for a fact. I mean, usually when there's something tragic, something extremely tragic. I mean, something that's Chris Benoit, good example, and what he
Right.
done. You know, that would be something. I mean, in his old home, that would be something I would think that would have something there. Something has to be there. I mean,
Yeah. And I would be curious to know what people are experiencing in that house if it's still around. I
right?
think it still might be because it was a really nice house and everything. But
That'd
I'm
be really
curious.
cool.
I think it would be curious to see what they're experiencing in that house.
You should reach out to them, Chris.
I got to find out first who owns it first, and then
Yeah.
get back to them. Be like, that would be a good one to check out and see what.
Well, I mean, you probably can just look up his records of where he passed away at, and it would give you the address of his home, and you just had to go back and whatever. He was in Canada, I believe. So
actually, I think it was in Atlanta, Georgia, when it happened.
was it?
I think it was in Georgia.
'Cause I know he was from Canada.
And I think he resided in the Atlanta area where all this happened. So I'm gonna have to look a little more on this.
You got to dig. That'd be something to check into. And if it's that close,
Well, yeah,
Terry,
Terry, come get me, stop by and get me on your way.
There you go. Sounds like a plan. We got road trip.
Hey, I'm just 2 hours from Atlanta. Y'all can come stay down here in the Alabama swamp. Got 4 acres, you know, your whole team can bring tents and shit, and we'll make it a party.
You can look for Bigfoot while you're there too.
Yes, I mean, I'm in the woods. We can look for, and we got the Alabama white thing in Alabama.
See?
Have you looked that up, Jackie? The Alabama white thing?
Yeah.
Now, I was telling Jess the other day, maybe we should, like, look for it. You know, we're a paranormal team. Maybe we should go out and see if we can find the Alabama white thing.
I've been trying to get people to go with me for years. Most people won't.
Chris will go with you.
Come on, Chris, let's go.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. I'll tell you what. Your cousin, my mom, Teresa, would love to join you because she's just an avid person when it comes to Bigfoot. So there you go.
It must run in the family. Runs deep in your roots,
It does,
Jackie.
actually. It really does. See? Well, Inez said she would go as long as it was glamping and not just regular camping. So I got to set her up good.
How's she going to go? I mean, she's going to
hotel in the woods.
Yeah.
I've got a tent with lights. Does that count as glamping?
See, Richard said he'll go. All right, good. We got good people going. All right. I can tell, Chris, you have so much passion about like wrestling. Do you feel like you have just as much in the paranormal?
I think I have more in the paranormal, to be quite honest.
Really?
I do. And why I have a more better feeling when it comes to the paranormal is ever since I started studying it back in 2009, there's been so many questions that's popped up. And when you start learning new things, start asking questions, I think it ends up getting much funner than the wrestling business, because with the wrestling business, the biggest problem about the wrestling business is, how do I explain it? It is a passion that's there for you, but it does burn out. And it burns out a lot. And I know it's burned out on me multiple occasions. There's years where I haven't done it, years I've gone back. 2017, I had an experience where I ended up getting a bacterial infection where they had to do surgery to get it off of my right chest where my lung is at, that it kind of threw me off guard. It kind of changed the way I look at things, where the wrestling business is just not as important to me anymore. Granted, as a fan, I still watch it, but I'll do a lot of more critiquing, because ever since you get into the paranormal, wrestling, a certain sport, you watch it a little bit differently than you would normally as a regular fan. I know when I was younger, watching Ghost Adventures when it first started, I enjoyed that more than I do the newer version of it. It just, there's a difference. And the reason why is now I understand it more. Now I understand they're doing it for
Absolutely. Because back in the day, I think when we all started watching the paranormal shows, we were just a paranormal fan. You know, we're just like, oh, I love this. I love the paranormal. But then when you get into it, it starts to change. And then when you learn more about it, it actually makes you look at it differently.
So a great example of that is MTV's Fear back in the 2000s when that first started. I remember watching that, and I'm like, when I was young, I'm like, oh, I can't do this. There's no way. And then I started thinking, wait, maybe I can. I bounced back and forth. And then I watched those old episodes on YouTube. And my first thought is, okay, why did they have them do it by themselves? That's a safety issue right there.
Right.
Not just spiritually, but physically. Because if you go into a place that's got activity and they haven't fixed up the place at all, what's the chances of you falling through the floor and getting hurt, you know?
Exactly.
Granted, they have cameras and stuff, and they're being taped the entire time. That kind of was like, okay, I can do this, but I'm going to have to have my team with me. I'm not doing this on my own. It's not safe. Now, granted, I'm talking to a person that's got her own show, Haunted and Alone. Is it Haunted and Alone? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Haunted and Alone. Although technically my first show, I wasn't alone because the boys wouldn't leave me alone. But I will be going to a new location soon, and I'll let you guys know where that's at when we get closer to getting that locked down. But it should be soon.
Nice.
Next few weeks, yeah.
Well, you see, you missed out on
we'll be alone next time.
If you wouldn't do shows like Haunted, Naked, and Alone, maybe the guys wouldn't be all over you then.
But
Listen, no, I mean, it is what it is. I did the show. You know, someone yelled, "Let's get naked," and I was all in. I didn't know what to tell you.
Oh, I'm glad no women ever did that with me because they'd be disappointed.
We just ran amok in a hotel naked for 4 days.
Sounds like you had fun.
Yeah, you were just talking about doing stuff alone. You missed our guest from yesterday, and he was on our show, this show here last week. Tim Coomer. They actually put him in a room by himself. He's chained up. He's got a hood on his head, and they just leave him. Just leave him. In a dark room, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. It seems a little intense. I mean, like, what? Why does he have to be chained up? Is that a choice, or do they, like, force him?
Right, and I've got to ask this of you, Howard, because I woke up this morning to a message from Jess saying, Howard and I, we all talked last night, and we think that we should tie you up, blindfold you, and do an EVP session. And I'm like,
on you?
No, on me.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy those crazy things.
I'll do it. I don't care.
Well, come on down.
Yeah, somebody come back and said that me, you, and Ricky, I think, or somebody else.
I think Rosie said that.
Yeah, I think Rosie said that. Said me, you, and Ricky should do that. And talking about putting each of us in a different part of the house, tied up and chained up.
Yeah, blindfold you and chain you up during this show.
And it's funny, you bring this all up because I joke around with my team. It's like, if you got a new member, we've got a new member. We're going to put them in a WASP outfit, leave them in a room for an hour, and just see what happens. It's just as a fun little gag. We've never done it. I haven't found a WASP outfit big enough for a lot of them. So
that's funny.
That would be funny.
So me, I just let bees in that room. I'll just let them in a room and just let bees go in that thing and see what happens.
Hello, my name is Howard. Welcome to.
Don't do that to me.
Hello, my name is Howard. Welcome to Haunted Jackass.
I actually go
brought your EpiPens.
I actually go for that show. And I've actually picked stuff that, done that. Got to try that. I mean.
Oh, my God.
And I bet the women on here actually would have the chains already that they could put on us.
Listen, I know how to take those things off. I'd be like working that thing. I could be out of the chains faster than I could be out of anything. I have no experience there.
I'll tell you what.
I've been left alone. I don't care.
I'll tell you what. Lock me in a room with a bunch of dolls. You can chain me. You can blindfold me. I'm fine with that. We'll make it happen.
Oh, hell no.
Like,
hell no.
I could do it.
real dolls or like girl dolls? What are we talking about?
Porcelain.
We're talking about the old-fashioned dolls that people get creeped out by.
Creepy dolls.
Yeah,
Creepy dolls. Set me with dolls.
leave me in a room. Yeah, leave me in a room with a bunch of them dolls and see what happens. I'll burn it down the house.
Yeah,
I'll stay in the room with the creepy dolls.
The show on Holy Trinity is actually about dolls tomorrow night. About possessed dolls.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, I should get Stephen Powell on the show. You know, he's from the UK. He does that haunted dolls. I think it's on Tuesdays. He's got a whole collection of haunted dolls.
There you go.
And speaking about dolls, don't forget to watch tomorrow night because we're going to talk about sex dolls being possessed.
First thing that comes to mind when we're talking about that, I have to say, is that necessarily a bad thing? Depends on the situation, right?
Well, Howard, you know we discussed that podcast. Have you listened to that podcast yet?
No, not yet.
You got to get that guy on your show.
Oh,
but my husband said the same thing. Why is he complaining? I mean, he was sexually assaulted. Why is he complaining?
Well, I mean, if it's John Holmes, I mean, the ghost of John Holmes, I mean, yeah, I would have to say a hard pass on that.
Well, that's what my husband said too. Was it a male or female demon? What is she?
A male
like?
or female demon?
Yeah, I just saw Chris Black's comment to my whole entire doll thing. Oh, hell no.
I know, I see that.
And I agree with you.
Hey, yeah,
dolls are freaking weird.
Both Jackies agree with him. Not just one. Both agree with him on this, okay?
No dolls.
We've got a few
I'm not afraid of no dolls.
They empty portals. I mean, I've always said that. They empty portals. They look so human-like. They're childlike. Children play with them. Young girls and boys. I can't say neither one, but they both play with them. And even went into adulthood. Men collect them. They put them on their shelves and everything. These porcelain dolls. So it's a wonder. I mean, if you have something up there, it's an empty vessel. It's easy for something to come into that vessel and take possession of it. And you just invited something. Oh yeah, look, it moves. Yay! Look,
it's happening here.
It's a Jackie Harmon doll. It pees and everything, you know. And
you can buy the pins for it at the store. So.
That's great.
Chris, I gotta ask you. Well, I think we're about running out of time,
Lord.
but that brings me
never gonna live it
makes
down.
me think of how do you feel about haunted items? You know, I've met paranormal investigators that say it does not ever happen.
My cousin Wanda's on here.
My team, we're actually looking for haunted items to research and investigate. But how do you feel about? Do you think items can be haunted?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think about it is because there are material possessions that humans just thrive on. Okay.
Right.
And they don't want to get rid of it. They want to keep a hold of it. It has some sentimental value for them.
Right.
That when they pass on, chances are they're going to attach to that item.
Exactly.
So there's no question that there is haunted items out there for a reason. And
I absolutely agree.
And the first time,
see, Terry's doing that when she was trying to collect these haunted items. That's fine. But for someone like me coming to your house, no, you don't want me coming to your house and want me to collect your haunted items. Because I'll walk in, I say, well, hell, that's a nice china cabinet.
Right?
You know? That thing
haunted.
is haunted.
I'm gonna have to take that.
It's gonna look good. Yeah, it's gonna look good in my dining room though. But yeah, it is haunted as hell. And I'm gonna have a U-Haul out front. Yeah.
See,
so you gotta watch.
I want to throw out this too, because I used to work in thrift stores. I spent 6 years with a company here in Utah called Savers. And
we have Savers. I love that store.
Savers, there's other names for it too. But you'd get items in all the time that there's a lot of questions behind it. I know there's a few items I've bought that are in here that were part of the thrift store. They could have a possession to them. You never know.
I love to go to flea markets and stuff like that. You can find a lot of that stuff at flea markets and like the secondhand stores and stuff like you're saying.
Go to estate sales.
That's where my little witch doctor was a digging find.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I
So
mean, and I think that he probably has some kind of story with him.
But that's one of the questions I'll always ask clients is, have you recently been to a thrift store, a yard sale, an estate sale, and purchased any items that you
Same.
brought back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Any
Because
antiques or
That's
I
cool.
do too.
I
you never
actually
know.
bought an old mirror one time from like I can't remember if it was like a secondhand store or garage. I can't remember exactly where I got it, but I know it was like I bought it from somebody, probably a garage sale back in like 2001, 2. And I kept it for a couple years, and we had the strangest stuff happening in our house. And then when we finally got rid of that mirror, it all stopped.
Well, mirrors are definitely a portal.
It was a weird looking mirror too. It was in my daughter's room, and she had all kinds of, like, her TV would come on and go off, and lights would come on and go off, and like her closet door would slide by itself. I mean, the strangest stuff. And this mirror just hung in her room. And at one point, some people in my house actually thought they saw like a little boy ghost looking thing, like walk past from the living room, like, at the corner of their eye. But multiple people saw it at the same time. And that's right after that's when we got rid of the mirror, and it all stopped.
Mm-hmm. In fact, the case that we're doing this Saturday involves a heirloom that's been part of the family for generations. We got this picture from the client, and you look at it, and it's a woman just in the middle of it, that full body apparition. It was incredible. It's something we couldn't debunk. And we think it has something to do with this heirloom, not to mention the client's son and his fiance, from my understanding, were bringing stuff in from like dumpster diving and everything, thrift stores, estate sales, which could add the activity up. So we're looking into that as well. And I got to agree with Jackie when it comes to mirrors. They can be some of the creepiest things.
Absolutely.
It's a gateway. I think a great example is I've heard stories where people got murdered in front of a mirror, and that mirror had dark entities with it. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like completely not off subject, but kind of on the same subject. Let me throw this at y'all, team of investigators. I've got a Rottweiler. If you break out a camera, cell phone camera, Polaroid camera, 35 millimeter, he leaves the room like you were taking the life out of his body. Okay. I've had this dog since he was a puppy, so nothing ever happened to him.
Interesting.
It's not a matter of a flash. You don't have to take out. I can walk around the house, Jackie, on my phone like this all day long.
You know what's interesting about that? Is some humans believe that.
Leaves.
Yeah. Well, some humans believe that if you take their picture, you're taking part of their soul.
Right, and people will say, send me a picture of Otto because he's like this big 200-pound beast that's just the biggest baby you've ever seen. And it's really hard to get a picture of him because, like I said, you can have your phone all day long. He won't budge. Flip up that camera and he is out of there. So I joke. I'm not stealing your soul.
We got 1 minute left, so I got to close this out. Chris, thank you for coming on tonight's show. It was a privilege. We'd love to have you back. If you ever want to come back, just let me come back.
Chris.
Absolutely.
Depends. She's the one who recommended you, and send me a friend request or something. That way we can chat more. And next week's guest, we're going to have Ernie and Denise Pack, possibly Denise. We don't know yet. So that'll be an awesome show about Waverly Hills.
Yep.
And so that'll be next week, same time, same back page and ever. Go to our page, like, share, whatever y'all have to do. Prometheus, we're just launching this thing. We actually posted the launch videos out today, just a little while ago, right before the show, actually. As a matter of fact, I think I sent one to all of y'all. Terry, Chad.
Yeah, I got it. I hadn't been able to watch it yet, but I got it.
Okay. So y'all take a look at it. If you can share it out, that'd be awesome. And that way we get some publicity out there and stuff like that. And Chris, if you ever want to do a show or something, let me know. We'll be more than glad to have you on. And like I'm trying to get Jax to bring some of her shows over. bring over shows. We don't care. If you want to talk about wrestling, hell, we'll have a show about wrestling.
I'll talk to him and I'll tell him more about it.
Okay.
Well, right now, if you guys ever want to listen, I do have a weekly show every Thursday that's on ERT Radio called the Geek End Podcast with my buddy Mitch Workman and Ricky Palmer. And we talk about just about anything pop culture. I do throw in some paranormal stuff every now and again. It's an hour and a half show. You can listen to it through ERT Radio, but it's also on Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, as well as my old radio show, WASP Radio, is also on Spotify as well that you can go and check out.
There you go, guys.
You can follow Chris.
So, with that being said, we thank everybody for coming and watching tonight. And we'll see y'all next
Thank you, Chris. It was nice to meet you.
We'll have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely have to have you back.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, thank y'all. And there you go, Ane. Thanks, Chris. Thanks so much for gracing us with your presence. So,
and thank you everyone for joining us in the chat. I saw a lot of my family today, so love you all.
Get the whole. You got half the family almost there now. I mean,
my other cousin Wanda came in.
Family reunion right here in the Pitre Dish.
I know.
I love you all.
So, y'all have a good night, and thank y'all for watching.